fire. I'm setting all the captives free, but I'm hanging by a wire. All those suckers know my name, but I just gotta fight the fight. They love to play those dirty games. From the dark will come a light. Look out, I'm coming. Look out, I'm a dangerous man. Shaking like the Holy Ghost, better run and be afraid. They tremble when they hear my voice. I knew there would come a day. They say that I'm a wanted man. They got a bounty on my head. They're drawing lines up in the sand, but I'll rise up from the dead. Look out, I'm a trouble man. Look out, I'm a dangerous man. Yeah. Oh, I'm a dangerous man. Yeah. Oh, I will survive. I'll stand and fight. Better run and hide. 'Cause I'm a dangerous man. Look out, I'm coming. Look out, look out, I'm a trouble man. Look out, I'm a dangerous man. Oh, I'm a dangerous man. Oh, I'm a dangerous man. I will survive. I'll stand and fight. Better run and hide. 'Cause I'm a dangerous man. I'm gonna survive. Gonna stand and fight. Oh, 'cause I'm a dangerous man.
Happy Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. It's Chris and Mark with the NWA Exchange Podcast, the only podcast you can listen to know everything about Bella Vista and beyond, and then some sun. We hope everybody is enjoying their spring break week, if you're actually able to enjoy that. We got some stuff we want to break down from the work session, and we're going to get into that right now. What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, we had a good trip, a little cold, chilly trip up north. Went up to Silver Dollar City over the weekend, and did a little bit of camping, and
Awesome.
kind of enjoying new things. And we one day was a little too cold, and we was like, you know what, man, well, let's go somewhere else. Like we got to be outside at the park. We went to this place called Beyond the Lens. Cool place if you've not ever been there. I actually first ever attempt at doing VR. I'm sure it was hilarious for the onlookers. I was walking the plank over. Thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate that. Walking the plank off of a skyscraper, trying to reach down and pick up some donuts, and I fell. All the way down to the street. I think I landed in a bush. But yeah, it was a trippy, like I've never done VR. It was a first for me. That's man, funny. It was weird. It's like your senses are just like, you're not there, but for some reason your response is like you're there. Right. So, but no, a lot of learning, a lot of cool stuff. And highly encourage like checking that place out. It's pretty cool. Beyond the Lens. Your pass is good for all day, so you can come and go as you please.
Yeah.
evolution of video gaming, man. I mean, how long has it been since you touched an Atari controller? Um,
Yeah,
they got
you
it
see what I
there,
sent you
bro.
today?
Yeah.
The 2600
Yeah. Well, the old school rectangle piece of pizza that you had to like,
joysticks. Yeah,
yeah.
the red
But
button. Yeah.
but yeah, it was cool, man. And then obviously we enjoyed our time at the park as well, Silver Dollar City. You know, last year they have Fire in the Hole, so you know, definitely a must. You got to go ride that
Awesome.
sucker a couple times before they put that one out of commission, because this is the last year they're going to have that. And that thing is one of the oldest rides in the park. And you know, we just like caught a couple shows, magic show, stunt pets show was really enjoyable, and you know, just had a good time off, man. That being said, man, the work session happened while I was out of town. I got back into town. I started watching some of this stuff and had a lot of questions for you. Uh,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah. There was a lot of moving pieces, man. There's some stuff in there I had to go back and go through it. Thank goodness Kevin videoed it, because I wasn't able to get to the live version. But I got home and went through that thing, and I just made notes on different parts, because I kind of brought it back and listened. Did I really hear what he just said? Then I brought it
Well,
back
I was
again.
having a problem hearing. I mean, like, obviously it's a new building. I don't know why anybody needs a 30-foot ceiling in a courtroom that echoes like the Dickens,
Well, it's like
and
an
your
echo
stenographer
chamber, man.
can't even understand what people are saying. Do you understand the words that are coming to my? No, because of the echo in this crappy. Like, I don't know, man. Somebody approved it. It was under Peter's watch. I'm sure that's probably the explanation that we'll always get. But it just does not seem like a good use of public space to put 30-foot ceilings in a room. I mean, you could have had 2 courtrooms in the same space that
Right.
one courtroom occupies with the second level, right?
Yeah.
Just saying, right? But no, we want our Taj Mahals and stuff like that because we all worship the government instead of God these days. So, bring
Well, I was
on
trying
the
to
tax man,
I was trying to listen, and someone was typing in the background, and
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
and I'm
Type
like,
in
oh.
creeper breathers. I don't know if it was a mic issue or an audio issue, but like something's got to get fixed on that because this is not an enjoyable experience to go through and listen. At one point it sounded like somebody had dry heaves back there. I don't know what they were shooting, but I mean, I can only imagine that it's somebody who drives a little yellow vehicle around tossing bottles out up Commonwealth. Possibly, maybe, I don't know.
Well, we appreciate Kevin getting out there and getting us the video and audio. I don't know what we can do, but I think he had a little technical difficulty. We lost the feed.
New locations. It's par for the course. New locations. I guess they present their own unique challenges. I'm sure he'll get it squared away. I did want to respond to Yurik. He was talking. He said the cave under Silver Dollar City, Marvel Cave. He says it's underrated, but it's well worth it. It is. They also have Yurik. They have the candlelight tour too. Like you can actually go in. It's like the last tour of the day, but you can actually explore it with like a lantern, just like the original explorers did and stuff. And so I think that's something we're going to try to do this summer as well. Is try to. The park's open later. They have the concerts and stuff. Diamond Rio is actually going to be up there this year.
Really?
Yeah. I'm all for some Diamond Rio. I start walking your way. You start walking. I'm all down for that, man. But yeah, so it's 2023 Silver Dollar City season is going to be shaping up pretty soon to be great. So there's a couple of topics that we wanted to talk about, and I think one of the first topics, Mark, was the road paving situation.
Yeah, there's been, and I've had people reach out to me, Chris, and you know this too. People with complaints that purchased houses on the understanding that they were going to pave up to their property and where the driveway is. Well, the people have the house built, they purchase the house, they move in and anticipating getting paved road. It just doesn't happen, and it's a shame.
And so, I mean, 100% it's a shame, right? If you built a home and you spent, I don't know, $400,000 or $500,000 on some of these new builds, man, you're looking at probably $400,000 or $500,000. And it's at the end of a road, but you really like the way the property looked or whatnot. And what they're basically, what I heard is effectively they're going to give you a surface to drive on. Most likely River Rock or Crust SB2. They're just not going to do the important part, and that's, putting asphalt on it. I mean, because you can't. I mean, Captain Obvious here. I heard the guy talking from the roads department, but I gotta play Captain Obvious for a minute. Pardon me while I put my cape on and fly through the city council work session.
Right.
Can you grate an SB2 road whenever ice hits it like it did this year?
No.
Okay.
Here's the other problem is it's just, and I understand the people that are upset because it should have been disclosed that they weren't going to do that. I mean, you're going to approve a building permit, right, Chris?
Yep.
In that area, you got to make sure that people understand that they're not going to pave the road.
Well, in most cases, Mark, though, we just approved a building permit 95% as a build completion, right? I'm just got to throw that low haymaker out there too, because that actually did happen.
Right.
So I don't know, but at the end of the day, as a person that's spending money in this city getting a house built, and this is probably most likely like where you want to be, so you're making major life changes to move here, just to find out that the city doesn't have enough money to pave. And John Flynn basically said during his time as city council, he was on the roads department, and under Peter Christie, I thought it was a great idea to encourage people to build within 150 feet of a road so that we'll pave up to that, right? That was his own words. But again, we live in a city, right? Or as I call it, the shitty. We live in the city, and therefore the city, there are things that you pay taxes for, and that's roads. Everybody can enjoy those roads, except if you have a new house built where they don't have the money to pave that road to your house.
Yeah, and this isn't pointed at the person building the house, but it was mentioned in there that they have the opportunity to put a fee on top of that. I don't know where they're getting off doing that. I mean, why is it the builder's responsibility for capital improvement projects? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, what? So, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, yeah, you're going to tap them another $500 or $1,000. It's just going to go into cost of goods. They're going to have to increase the price of the house. I mean, when is this going to stop?
By all means, though, let's just keep on buying art, for the city, and with your taxpayer money, right?
There's things that there's necessities, and that's not one of them, Chris.
Right. Infrastructure. Right? I look at infrastructure as being a big thing, and where our city lacks, and I think that was kind of the common thread when we were interviewing Randy Murray, was like, there are so many infrastructure needs in Bella Vista, right? That should be the primary focus of the next administration, right? And it just doesn't seem to be like they're focused on hamstringing short-term rental owners, or which is a tax generator for the city, believe it or not. But they're going after the residents. White fences. I know it's not the city doing that, but what I'm saying is the priorities.
Right.
Of the administration is all about putting more lipstick on the pig versus focusing on the infrastructure. Having these conversations about septic systems, that's another topic that came up during the work session. If your septic system is over 30 years old and you sell your property, or if it's over 30 years old, you need to replace it. They're just putting that mantra out there. And the average septic system, if it's properly maintained, lasts 30 to 45 years. It's properly maintained, right? Yep. And that's not even a focus. It should not even be a focus of the city, because we have other agencies that do this for the state of Arkansas, the health department, right? Yep. And if anything, it's a private transaction between a person and a person, right? And they can say, hey, dude, you're going to buy this house. It was built in, 1983. And if you want to just take my word, the septic's good on it. No, your average Joe and your realtor should be encouraging them to get that inspected, right? So they know what they're walking into. Or the truth and disclosure, right? Hey, the septic system was installed in 1982. It works fine, but you probably are going to have to replace that thing soon, right?
Right.
But again, not a function of the city government. The city government should be focused on what? doing what we pay taxes for and improving the
Exactly.
infrastructure that we
Right.
pay said taxes for. Not all these other pet projects of, I don't know, retired engineers who think they know more than the engineers that work for the city and are paid by the city and paid by taxpayers. And you're just a body up there to vote yes or no, right? It's amazing how many conversations that are happening where Wilms gets to be the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
But that's not why he's there. He's there to say yes or no.
Right. Yeah.
Leave it to the
Yeah, I
capable
agree.
experts that our city hires, right?
Right. I agree. Well, let's get into it, brother.
All right, bro. Well, I'm sorry. I got on my little rant page
No,
over
I
there.
mean, great
We got a couple
points. I mean,
comments here. To your point, if the septic system is really a problem, maybe we just throwing this out there, build a sewer system. Exactly, right? We should be focused on, I don't know, building water, building sewage systems that are owned and operated by the city so that eventually every dollar that the taxpayer pays is going back into the public infrastructure and not to a privately owned entity who happens to be the same entity that built Bella Vista magically, right? Just saying. All right, going in. I'm really not angry or hostile, y'all. I'm just tired of this this scenario
it's
we
good.
all have to suffer through.
You know, sitting down with the street folks, I said, why don't we at least start to nibble at this? And every year when we do streets, we'll do 2 miles. But there's 14 miles. So that would take 7 years if you didn't get any new ones, right? So, and then you have to decide which ones to do. So we had 2 criteria. One is,
I want to comment real quick. Yurk said, imagine telling a homeowner that they have to spend $30,000 and have no choice. I don't think that's legal. I don't think it's legal either. And I think if the city came and told me, Chris, you have to pay $30,000 or you cannot occupy your home anymore, even though your septic system isn't failed, I'd be like, well, I guess the obvious solution is I'm going to start pooping on your yard, John or Doug. You know, like, I mean, like a composting toilet, something. I don't know if those things are a thing,
Well,
but if there's no other option, then septic is the option. That's it. You can't just condemn people's homes because of the age of something and it's not failed. If it's failed, it's a nuisance problem. It's a health problem.
Well, think about it from this direction. I mean, from this standpoint, and if it's 30 plus years, anything under 93 right now would fall under that if they hasn't been inspected in 5 years by their speculation. And yeah, there's people on fixed incomes. Hell, you can't dump that kind of money out to rip up your yard. You're damaging everything.
It's the same. It's the same mantra as the cash for clunkers cars, right? If you drive a car that's 85 or older, you know, you just need to have it crushed, right? But look at how many of those vehicles are still on the road, right?
Yeah.
And they're still doing what they were intended for, right? Very low maintenance vehicles compared to the crap that we're buying today, plastic vehicles, right?
Right. This is another blatant overstep,
Yeah.
and I'm not on board with this whatsoever. And you know, Flynn's alluding to we pave 150 feet from, you know, the house, blah blah blah.
But
That's
you're
not true
in
either.
a unique situation where your house has a side street and your
It's dirt.
driveway actually hits that side street and it's just dirt, and the dirt
Right.
washes away continually, much like the dam that Bentonville kept on just putting dirt out on every time it would
Right.
wash out, right?
Right. So there's no truth to that. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there isn't.
All right.
the
Get back
age
into
of
the
house or
paving.
houses, how long you've been waiting, right? So that means if you build a new house right now, you couldn't get paved because there's all these people in line ahead of you, right? And the second one is what's in the city's best interest. And we had several criteria for that. Washout. I mean, you know, you can make a gravel road, and if it's like this, it's just gonna, every time it rains, you can be called back to repair it because you're a pain in the neck, right? Washout, density, meaning if there are a bunch of houses around there, you know, rather than 1 or 2. Logistics, because when you're planning with the paving, you know, this always goes into their paving is logistics. You don't want to do one house here and then run across town and do one. You kind of try to do it in some rational way. and the fourth one was cost. So and those can get to be pretty subjective, and what the street department has always done is kind of subjective. I mean, we have these streets that need paving, and they try to figure out some rational way to pave them, do some on the east side, some on the west side, and be fair to everyone. So anyway, that's my viewpoint on it. I don't know if you guys want to add anything from street.
So his viewpoint is that well, it's your fault for building a house further than 150 feet away from a paved road, and but now you're on a wait list.
Yeah, so here's my problem with it. If that's the case and you can't handle the infrastructure, why would we keep on giving out building permits, Chris, in rural areas that don't have the pavement?
Well,
forget it.
But like I
Stop
said, we're
it.
not giving out building permits until after the build is halfway done. I will say this, the developer that purchased the lot next to my house started doing some work on the lot. All the permits are posted on the telephone pole out there, right?
Right.
You could see everything, who it is, what they're doing. That's the proper way to do business in Bella Vista. I know the builder came by my house and actually personally spoke with us, gave me his card. If there's any issues, I can call him, right? And that's the proper way to do it. But now you go, I don't know, 7 or 8 houses down the road where the other house that was being built, where, Burning Man 2.0 happened, there was nothing posted until we raised hell about it, right? We didn't know what's going on. And then on top of it, there is still down timber that they just pushed off onto the lots to the left and the right.
Right.
It was obviously cleared off of this lot, but so again, let's start going after the bad actors, but allowing the good builders to continue to do the right thing. But that ties into the you're the unique person, because there is a lot of unpaved areas in Bella Vista. There's a lot of undeveloped areas in Bella Vista. And you might have to drive through the woods to hit that lot, and you find that lot that you love, and it's got the view, and you're like, you can see the potential in it, and there's no other lots that are purchased, so you buy 4 lots, and you can have your dream home. The city should still be paving that, right? They should be paving it all the way up to your threshold for your driveway, so that the mail carriers can run, so that you have proper entry and exit from your property in case there's a fire or an emergency. It's in the wintertime, snow, the whole 9 yards, right? This is a duty that we pay. I'm sure we know enough people in our little inner circle where you can be like, hey, Bob, can you bring over a dump truck and just hook me up, and then bring in the concrete truck, and we'll knock this out, man. And get it done. We could do that, right? People are resourceful enough to just pave their own crap. Right. But that's not why we pay taxes. We pay taxes to the city to take care of this stuff for us. We trade those costs and those freedoms for the continuing of paying taxes and the greater good of everybody on the street gets to benefit from this, right? And so that's the missed mark. That's the missed mark, I think.
If I build a house with 125 feet off of a main road, okay, just hear me out for a second, Trafalgar, okay? I'm 125 feet in the woods. Do I get pavement up to my house? A yes or no?
I would say yes.
Okay, that's what
doesn't matter if you're 150 or 180 feet or 300 feet. We know people who got their stuff paved all the way across a golf course. Just saying, right? So, just saying.
Right. I'm just being devil's advocate here.
Right.
This is what he's saying. I need to convey what he's saying to my clients so they understand, right?
Europe goes, I'd argue that's a no. You're driving. You better bust out the 4-wheel drive. It's over, buddy. But the next topic I think was this was Jason basically talking about the history of Bella Vista. And the POA was on the hook, and it was in the bylaws that your POA dues actually go for road maintenance. So even though the city, this is a theory, even though the city took over the roads departments and stuff, I think that it may. Well, we're gonna reach out for public comment. Doubt we'll get any, but we're going to reach out and we're going to look at the bylaws of the Bella Vista Property Owners Association, because I'm not 100% certain that they've updated their bylaws, the covenants, and all that stuff that we all sign whenever we buy a house in Bella Vista. But if roads are still mentioned, then that tells me that some of our money, potentially, maybe, from the POA should go towards these road improvements too, because you're effectively buying your property and getting into a contract with a POA, but yet the POA saying, "Oh, not my circus, not my monkeys," right?
Right.
But if it's in the bylaws and in the contract, then I guess it would be their circus and their monkeys, and they should somehow be paying something to the people who are responsible for paving your road. Just theory.
Being POA members, we should have access to that information. Why would we not be able to get that, right? We're members, right? We should know exactly if it's in the bylaws or not.
Right.
I mean, the CEO should know that.
Yeah, we'll listen to Jason talk for a few minutes, and then we'll get this one out the gate too. Yeah, mule.
Including the streets and the police and fire and everything. Their policy was, and they collect, and their covenants and their declarations say that the assessments that are collected by the property owners can be used to build out and improve the streets.
Oh, wow.
So whenever a new home would be built, the POA would build out a road, could be chip and seal, but they would build out to the driveway. So that created an expectation on the part of a lot of builders that, well, there's all those, wagon roads up there that you can't really, that are horse paths, but build a house, the POA will have to fix your street all the way up to your driveway. Well, we became a city. Part of the reason we become a city was so that we would have additional money for streets. We could get turnback funds for streets. And the decision of our initial mayor was to pick up that practice. And so that's how the city started doing that. And then the cost grew and grew and grew. And so I can't remember the project. Y'all may know more about this, but we were subsidizing new home construction to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars because we're building out brand new roads to a driveway so that a spec house could be sold.
Subsidizing. The taxpayers were subsidizing, right? That's cool. I mean, that's part of being a taxpayer and living in a community in a city. But my question is when did they just stop this and just say, well, now you're on your own, resident, right?
This is the first I'm hearing this too.
I think it probably happened under Peter Christie.
Yeah.
He's alluding to that this happened during was it Frank Anderson's tenure, and so because we've only had two mayors now we're on a third, right?
Right.
So did Peter basically just disband this and say, you know what, you're on your own, resident? I mean, again, welcome to Canada, eh?
Taxpayers are funding that, $30,000, $40,000 for one builder to build a house and sell it. And so that led to the other decisions the mayor talked about. That's kind of how we got to doing this. And then to answer your question before, how the roads are in the condition they're in to have to do it.
Yeah, again, just a little more perspective. And I said, I don't know where this goes, right? I really don't. When I say, property taxes, I think it's, maybe in my house, I don't even know. I'm going to say maybe $200 a year goes to the city general fund. That's it. And you're spending who knows how many thousands of dollars to get a road to a house that's just, 100 or 200 feet down the street.
And that's becoming
Doug
is he?
We're not taxed enough.
I guess he's just saying, man, you give us some more money, right?
Yeah.
Typical politician ain't coming out of their pocket, so we just tax everybody more.
Right.
I warned you guys back whenever we were going through the runoff election.
Yeah. The tax increases.
The tax increase is gonna come.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out. But meanwhile, again, bringing up the Taj Mahal of courtrooms where we can't hear crap and the echoes, and I don't know who the hell's sitting behind Kevin Dooley, but they are an angry person because the way they're beating up that keyboard is just phenomenal. If that thing hadn't had a mechanical failure at this point. I mean, they're beating this. I mean, like, for real, guy. Like, calm down on your typing. It's amazing that we got somebody in the background that's rattling the keys like, you know.
It's like an editor
like-
or something, right?
I don't know if it's an editor or not, but what I'm saying is, it's like, imagine Stevie Wonder if he was deaf and had no audio and the keys were just like beat. I mean, like, because that's what it's Stevie going nuts back there playing music. You just like, but there ain't nothing coming out. It's just clickety click, 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 right?
It's Candy Crush.
It's like, my goodness, man. Like, calm down on the keyboard. You know? Chill out, yo. But I don't know. The audio in this room is not there. Kevin, if you're watching, we appreciate the video. We're not knocking it at all. There's some work to do, though. Audio needs to be tightened up on this because it's very hard to hear and very hard to follow. But basically, we got the gist of this. Doug's like, well, we just pay more taxes. Have them pay more property taxes. Then we can take care of these road situations. Yeah, it's just what I want to do as a resident of Bella Vista. Pay more property taxes. Thanks.
People are
very
getting
much.
squeezed enough with everything else going on. Then you want to throw more property tax on them.
Yeah.
You know.
Next topic was the rezoning stuff. Now this one's a doozy for you guys, okay, guys and gals. Was it the rezoning or was it maybe it was something else? We got fire chief, and then there's it was sewer and septic. I think is where we're going. Yes, sewer and septic possibly, maybe, I don't know, maybe lost track.
Up to a jury.
Oh, no. This was the eminent domain they did for the Mercy Way Bridge, which effectively cost the city, you, the taxpayer, an additional, what was the final number that we came up with, Mark?
So the payout was originally at 121,000. Then they mediated it, and they came back with another. They had to pay another 75, which brought you to 186,000. The city had to pay that gas station, the owner.
And we're talking possibly maybe like a 3 to 4 foot section of property that just abuts a road, right?
Right.
That was like a great deal.
A special grant to give us that'll cover 80% of that, but the 20% is going to be picked up by the citizens.
Right.
Again, why are you doing the project? It should have been addressed before you even started the project. And if there was an issue and you took it by eminent domain and that owner, you had to come to terms with it. You should have settled it before you even started the project.
They came to terms with CVS. They came to terms, I believe Cooper owned some property that was dealt with this fashion as well. But they came into terms with other property owners and started the project and didn't have the terms and conditions lined up with there. And yeah, that's just it goes on the good faith effort, right? The city should not be the enemy of the people. The government should not be the enemy of the people, and you should make all good faith decisions, taking the people that pay taxes to you in consideration, right?
Right.
And the fact that this property owner didn't want to settle, didn't want to sell, wanted special terms and conditions. Shout out to them for fighting this.
But I don't even think they engaged him. They did the mediation. He said he went back with them and with his lawyer and mediated. But here's the problem, man. That's after the fact, Chris. Regardless if the NWA
regional commission,
regional commission is going to pick up 80%, you lost just under 40 grand for no reason. And
exactly.
You have a budget overrun that I don't even know where we're at.
Yeah, because they had the special work session 2 months ago where they called that special meeting because we're like, oh crap, there's power lines and other stuff that we got to address.
Right. So we still don't even know where we stand on that. We never got an update. I mean, this is what happens. You got to stay on top of this stuff, man.
Well, you know what? I told you there's a tax increase looming. It's going to be looming, man.
Yeah, it's coming.
And have appraisers that render opinions in that case to help the jury make a decision. So as I said, our appraisal was $121,900. The property owner had an appraisal that was $357,000, which is a little over $250,000 more than what we estimated the valuation to be. So we've been in litigation over that since the end of 2021. Here we are in March of 2023. About 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting between the mayor's staff and the owner's attorney, to try to sit down and talk about what we might be able to work out on this case. We reached a proposed agreement we want to present to you. We think is very advantageous for the city. It would reduce, instead of us paying $235,100 more, we would pay $75,000 more. And
So he's using lawyer talk right now, right?
Right.
$270,000 more. We're only paying, what did he say?
121 up front with this additional 75 brings you to 186, right? And then that, or 186.9, I guess.
And we're talking
then-
again. We're talking about maybe like a 3 to 5 foot section of a parking area. Like there is no there's no conditional use on like this is a drive. It's ingress and egress from a business.
Right.
It doesn't change the nature. They don't have to tear down a wall. Nothing like that, right?
Right.
There's no relocation of, I don't know, holding tanks or anything like that.
Well, what troubles me is this goes back to 2021, and I'll have to look at my notes, Chris, but I don't even remember a conversation that Peter Christie had about this going into litigation.
No, again, another, Peter, just I know a lot of people think I got a healthy disdain for Peter, but I really do, because the guy was just a totally incompetent joke
Yeah, well,
of
it
a
shows
mayor. And so now we're seeing the fallout from that.
Right.
Right.
Well, there was no.
Oh
When
my
was there any
gosh, dude.
communication with the
There's
city
nothing,
or
nothing.
the
This was never
residents?
disclosed to people. Never,
No.
never once.
No.
I had a really hard time really understanding why we would be paying for something which is basically an improvement project. But apparently we paid money to CVS, and apparently we paid money to Cooper, and apparently we're paying money to the owner of the Phillips 66 gas station. Also that we can get, a new bridge, which I believe is widened a little bit to allow for bicycle traffic.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going down there now, man.
Well, I think they're getting ready to start pouring concrete, so hopefully this project will be done soon enough. I like going down to the Phillips 66. People down there are great people. They're nice people. I'm gonna supporting a small business is my thing, right? But
Yeah. I don't.
buddy, I
blame
think I'm
him.
supporting you enough now, man. With the taxes that we're gonna pay to recoup these costs,
Discount. Get a discount on your beer, man.
something. Give me 5 cents off a gallon, man. You know what I'm saying? Something. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't blame him because it's his property, dude. I'd get an appraiser, but you know what? You get an appraiser, you get 5 appraisers, you get 5 different appraisals, right?
Yep.
It's just how it works, man. But to let that go and not disclose that to the citizens of Bella Vista is just there's a pattern here consistently, within the city and the POA.
Well, I think the pattern is called oops.
Yeah. Oops, we got
Oops.
caught again for the 50th time.
Oops,
Right.
oops. I mean, the
Right.
number of lawsuits that are stacking up. Oops. Yeah. So the big topic I think that a lot of people were wondering about is the POA. Just I don't know. They got a wild hair up their rear and decided, man, we're going to go rezone all our property, even though nobody's asking for it, right? Tom Judson has showed up to more city council meetings and made
Yeah.
himself more available to the city council and the city planners than he has actually, your normie POA members. Sweet, cool. Thanks, Tom, for your service and all that jazz. But there's, they're trying to rezone all this property, but there was one that came up and they want to rezone it to industrial because, we got fuel there. We got fertilizer there. Buddy, I got fuel and fertilizer in my garage, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not asking to be rezoned to industrial. That seems a little extreme. But
Right.
one of the questions I think that was boiling on a lot of people's minds was, what does this mean for me, the POA member? Does that mean that the POA can just change the use case of this property? No. And I've got to remind everybody a little bit before I don't want to spoil it though.
Yeah, let it roll.
But
And we'll get into it.
dude, we're gonna have this adult conversation. What is the play? The POA does not do anything unless they have a play in hand.
Right.
What is the play? That's the question that everybody should be asking themselves. What is the play? So we're gonna go over to this one real quick and get it rolling. Then we'll talk.
Based on the request.
So the bottom line is, it's not mandatory that they rezone this, they can continue using it as it is.
No, absolutely not. They couldn't expect.
So the city attorney just confirmed it's not mandatory. You can continue to use the property as is. The city's not calling for this, right?
Right.
So Tom Judson is heading this up for some unknown reason.
Right.
Keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
If they want to do things like that, then they're going to have difficulty.
Well, my question was, has the fire department inspected it? And Chief Sims just said, yeah, we expect them once a year, so.
We try to get through all commercial buildings once a year, and that would be considered commercial buildings.
So that answers my
And he's right.
He didn't say it was
They're taxed
mandatory, he said
double
we
wide, they're in
try.
containment.
So in other words,
They fall
we may or
within
may
the
not.
fire.
Yeah, they try to get there. I mean, obviously they're busy schedules and stuff, and
Right.
there's a lot going on. I mean, Bella Vista is a booming community, man. So, there's a lot going on, especially now that they got to go out and start inspecting people's private homes.
Oh, I guess. Well, can't figure out why my insurance rates keep on
Well, I
going.
mean,
up
dude,
there.
I know, man. The fire department's busy though. So they're actually going out there. They're checking it out, and I think they're really focused on some of these facilities that might have hazmat storage areas. So shout out to Chief Sims for looking at those places first and foremost, and trying to inspect them every year.
answers my question.
But if you wanted to have them inspected, I understand what Jason said. If they wanted to have them inspected, we have nothing to hide with.
So here you go.
Like nothing to hide.
Just take the persona and you'd be like, well, we got nothing to hide, nothing up my sleeves, even though I'm wearing a cardigan, long sleeves, zip up. He's not even folding the collar down, dude, bro. Like this
We got
is
nothing to hide.
It's like the guys that used to wear the polos with the collar flipped. You know,
Didn't you say the same thing in the stump dump? We had nothing to hide.
Just full transparency is the name of the game, even though.
Chris,
Well, yeah.
don't you remember that?
I
got
do.
nothing to
I
hide.
remember a
the
lot,
stump
dude.
dump? We got nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide.
4.3 million later.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Hindsight's 20/20, isn't it?
Chief just said it's inspected once a year, so I mean,
Would you mind if I ask Tom?
So the person that's asking the question is actually the director of community development services, Doug Tapp. Out of the infinite amount of wisdom that we have sitting at the table here, or the bench, Your Honor, whatever you want to call it, Taj Mahal. I don't even know what we call in this place yet, dude. But the infinite wisdom here, the guy sitting at the table, it's like, I've heard a lot of buzz, and I got to ask this question. Would you mind if I ask the question, Mayor? And he gets the green light. So thank you very much, Doug Tapp, for asking this question, because it really set the pace for the next portion of this.
Yeah.
Shorty.
Yeah.
There's some additional information that came up at Planning Commission. Tom,
Yes,
would
sir.
you mind? Did you say okay?
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing with them the questions about leasing, future use, and the deed restriction?
So leasing, future use, and deed restrictions. Okay, so that means you're implying, what do you want to do? Do you want to lease this? Is there a deed restriction if you guys decide to try to sell it? Doug's the only guy in the room really at this point saying, why are you, nothing changes your use case scenario. So
Right,
why
why
are
would you
you
do it?
approaching it?
Yeah. What's
Right.
the premise behind wanting to
People
do
are
it?
wondering
Right.
what the heck you're doing. So shout out to Doug Tapp for asking the question. The hard questions are usually the questions that nobody wants to ask. He's not even on the city council. He's asking the question. Luckily, this is a work session or somebody, man.
Well, because Jason just said
right?
it doesn't matter. It
Right.
doesn't matter what it's coded right now. It doesn't matter if it's residential. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not going to change the fact you can still operate.
They're
the way you're
grandfathered in by
operating.
their use case. They're grandfathered in. So
Yeah, so,
Itself.
okay,
Those
so,
all came up.
and I think we covered some of this at last month's, but there was some concern brought up about what if the POA decided to sell. Keep in mind that the sale of any common property requires a vote of the entire membership.
what did he just say? What did he say? The
sale
sale
any
of
property
what?
requires the vote of the membership.
The
which is
entire
us, but-
membership. The entire membership. Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The
That's
entire membership.
Improved and unapproved lot owners.
Right. So, do y'all remember getting a ballot to sell the Arkmo land? I think that was
Yeah,
roughly 100 acres, maybe a
It
little
was
bit
more than that.
Was it more than
think
that?
it was- I think it was like 300 acres.
300
for $1 million
acres.
bucks, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was somewhere around
So,
there.
do y'all remember getting that little thing to vote? Like, we're going to sell the Arkmo land?
I
You
don't
guys
remember
remember
getting
that? I don't
anything in the
remember
mail.
diddly about that. The board just made the decision to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
wrong
I know.
here. Something wrong here.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong? Somebody correct me.
No, they sold. They
they
sold,
sold
that
it.
underneath of us.
They sold it
sold
out
that
to
out.
somebody who's a very big property purchaser here in Northwest Arkansas.
Yep.
Rhymes with Fulton's. Didn't require 100% approval of the Bella Vista property owners memberships,
Nope.
right?
They gave
we
it
just
away.
sold it. Now, my question is what happens if the POA starts rezoning all this property and then leverage themselves for a loan for their capital improvement projects that are really not on the timeline that they spit it out? And then potentially knowing that they haven't been taking their money, the fiduciary duties of the board to take the money and make sure that people have proper roads, and paying that to the person, i.e. the city, we may be in a situation where we have to leverage some property and get a loan on it. And what happens when that loan defaults? Does that require a vote of the membership?
Yeah. So I
The
wanna give
bank's
you a quick
coming, man. They're going to
update.
get it.
367 acres is what it was. So total 367 acres, and it looks like was the full appraised value 1.475 million. So they stole it. They stole it for nothing.
Yeah.
They
Good luck
stole it.
finding that many acres
It's-
in
yeah.
Arkansas or Missouri
Yeah,
right now.
so like a little bit over 4,000 an acre is what you got it for, and I would bet you probably could have sold, broke that up to a lot of the builders in this area. Would have been more than happy to grab some large chunks at probably twice or three times that value.
All I'm
cost.
saying is Tom lied, man. I mean, it didn't require a vote of the people. It didn't require a vote of the property owners to sell
No.
that land. They just sold
No, it didn't.
They got
No,
rid
he
of it.
didn't.
They offloaded it. They needed the money, and they did
Well, they
it.
gave it away for nothing.
And it's
They gave it away for
advantageous
nothing.
for the POA to zone their stuff commercial or industrial or whatever they're wanting to do. But here's the kicker. Do you know who our POA board members are? I know one of them. I know one of them well. But that person also works on the city planning commission. And guess what?
So who are
Well,
you-
the minutes don't lie, do they? We want to rezone something from, let's see, the applicant is the Bella Vista POA presented by Planner Robertson. They want to rezone 22 Glasgow Road to Branchwood Recreation Center from R1 residential to C1 commercial. JB Portillo voted. I don't know. Ethics matter. I don't know. Maybe we're like, the last banditos in the old Western, ethics. We don't need no stinking ethics, right? But she should have 100%. She's a POA board member.
Yeah, it's a
And she's
conflict
a
of
sitting
interest
planning
there.
commissioner. And this is the thing,
Absolutely.
the thing we continually bring up, conflict of
Yeah.
interest. JB Portillo being a POA board member with
Planning
information
commission.
and access to information that isn't readily available to the POA membership.
Yeah.
She's in the know. I mean, isn't that her show on YouTube? In the know with
She-
JB Portillo?
She should have
right?
removed herself. She should have recused
She
herself.
should have
from that
recused
vote.
herself 100%. But not
Yeah,
one.
disgraceful.
But she's been doing this. And this is the same thing you brought up about Linda Lloyd being a developer, a real estate agent, broker, Word on the street has it she's actually done lending as well. This is a conflict of interest, and they should be recusing themselves in those points and cases. And this is an ethics violation. And honestly, this is scary enough to say that like these people should not be doing double dipping duties, sitting on the POA or sitting on something that actually has the relevance of news, and then working with the city, spreading propaganda, the whole 9 yards. This is bull crap. If you can't smell the stink, it doesn't matter if you're stinking, if you're taking a dump out in the woods or if you're taking it in the potty, it's still poop. It still stinks.
Yeah.
Stop it. Quit allowing this. Somebody needs to call this out. We're calling it out. People need to start calling this out.
Yeah, the fact that nobody in the planning commission even had that, I lost all faith in that. There's just no doubt in my mind. I mean, you don't even see the mere sense and propriety here. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. And this is what I was concerned about before, Chris. This is what I was talking about. You can't put people in positions like that when they're on other boards to do that.
Nope.
But apparently it's okay. They don't think anything's wrong with it.
I don't know, man. Hey, you own stock in this company and you want this company to do business in Bella Vista? Sure. Why not vote on it? Right? Again, the mere appearance of a conflict of interest is enough to say, probably shouldn't do it. You probably should just recuse yourself. Obviously, your many years of experience and everything that you've done in your life and dabbled in still hasn't educated you in the fact that you probably are sniffing too many booty holes and getting way too involved with too many things where you're getting confused about what your actual duties are. You should not ever be voting on a POA matter from a city perspective. You need to recuse yourself. We watched enough of that. We've watched enough of the stuff with SB 197 where people, congressmen and senators who own short-term rentals recused themselves. They did the right thing. Ma'am, you need to start getting some ethics training for real.
Yeah. The city, we have a city lawyer and they got a POA lawyer. Why aren't they educating her? So they're okay with this behavior? Is that what you're saying to me?
Possibly, maybe. I'm not implicating anybody, anything. These are just theories and talking points, right? We're just bringing the information out and talking about it, right? These are opinions.
Right.
What I'm saying is this person has no business voting on anything POA related because she is a sitting POA board member.
Absolutely.
Period. That's it.
Yeah.
That being said, y'all, a little update on the work session. I'm sorry I guess we're right on that hour time frame.
Yeah, never a dull moment, man.
Boy, brother,
we like to keep people in the loop, though. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's going on. I mean, listen, there's some positive stuff, but we also have to show the trash, the things that are going on and things you need to focus on. Because,
just remember to always look on the bright side of life, y'all.
Yep. Amen.
It's you got to crack some eggs to make an omelet, and that's all we're doing, man. We're cracking eggs and cracking heads. So, till the next one. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Enjoy the rest of your spring break. If you're actually doing that type of stuff. Weather's going to be a little, crunchy tomorrow. Rainy, I think, in the afternoon. But you know what? Get out and do something fun. Be nice to one another, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Take it easy, everybody. Have a good night.
Latest.
Take my hand, come take my hand. We'll walk this road together through the storm.